Have you ever felt a little bit stuck, wondering what the right way to create something new actually is? We all want to make our mark, to do meaningful work, but sometimes the way forward just feels foggy. Well, today, we're going to clear that fog and map out the two major roads to innovation.
Okay, so let's just dive right into the central puzzle. Think about this. How can you have someone like Picasso, who just explodes onto the scene and completely changes art in his 20s, while at the same time, you've got Mark Twain, who crafts his masterpiece, Huckleberry Finn, way later in life? I mean, one feels like a sudden bolt of lightning, and the other is like a slow rising tide. How can both be true?
And here's why this really matters. This isn't just some academic debate about famous dead guys. This is about you. Figuring out which of these paths is your natural default can literally unlock your own potential. I don't care if you're an artist, an entrepreneur, a coder, or you're just trying to solve a tricky problem at the office.
All right, so first things first. We have to start by tearing down the big myth that we're all fed about what a genius is supposed to look like. You know the story, right? It's the one we see in all the movies. The young genius, your Steve Jobs, your Picasso, who has this sudden world-changing vision. Poof! They see the entire masterpiece in their head before they even pick up a tool. It's dramatic, it's fast, and it almost always happens when they're young.
But what if that's only half the story? Because there is this other path. It's quieter, less flashy, but just as powerful. This is the path of people like the painter Cezanne, or, again, Mark Twain. Their best work didn't come from some early flash of insight. No, it was a slow burn, a lifetime of tinkering, of trial and error, of just gradually getting better and better, until one day they looked up and realized they'd created a masterpiece.
And this is where things get really interesting. An economist named David Galenson actually studied this and gave these two paths real names. He created this incredibly useful framework that helps us make sense of it all. So let's break it down.
So, first up, you have the conceptual innovator. Think of them as the architects. They are all about the big, new idea, the vision. Their main goal is to bring that pre-formed vision into the world, and they'll plan every little detail to make sure it happens exactly as they imagined. Yep, that's Picasso.
And then, on the complete flip side, you have the experimental innovator. These are the explorers. They don't start with a map, they find their way as they go. Their masterpiece isn't a destination they plan for. It's a discovery they make along the journey of creating. This is your Cezanne.
Now, when you see them side by side like this, it just clicks, doesn't it? Look at the difference. The conceptual innovators method is this bold new idea, while the experimentals is gradual progress. The timeline, early breakthroughs versus late mastery. One plans everything, the other discovers it in the process. Totally different approaches, and yet, both can lead to absolutely groundbreaking work.
Okay, so the theory is cool and all, but this is where the rubber really meets the road. The real magic happens when you stop looking at them as historical figures and start using this framework as a mirror for yourself.
So I want you to ask yourself this, and be honest. When you start something new, do you need that big, perfect blueprint in your head before you can even begin? Or are you the type who just has to dive in, get your hands dirty, and figure it out as you go? Your gut reaction to that question, that's a really big clue. And hey, if you're not sure, that's totally fine. Here are a few ways to get some clarity. You can look back at past projects, maybe even journal about your process. But here's a really simple one. Just notice where you get your energy. Do you get a buzz from that initial huge aha moment? Or do you get that deep satisfaction from the process of refining and perfecting something over time?
All right, so once you start to get a feel for your style, what do you do with that information? Well, you don't just admire it, you use it. And that's where we get to the action plan, how you turn this self-awareness into an actual strategy for success.
Now, here's a 7-step plan to get you started. And they're all critical, but I want to really highlight 2 of them. First, number 2, play to your strengths. This is huge. It means you stop fighting your own nature. If you're an experimenter, stop beating yourself up for not having a grand 5-year plan. And second, and honestly, this is a total game changer, look at number 5, collaborate across types. Teaming up with someone who is your opposite can create pure magic.
Yeah, let's zoom in on that for a second. Just imagine it. You pair a big picture, conceptual visionary with a methodical, hands-on experimenter. The visionary points to a mountain in the distance and says, "We're going there." And the experimenter starts building the road, discovering the best path, stone by stone. That combination, it balances out the crazy risk-taking with real, steady progress. It's an incredible partnership.
So, When you boil it all down, what does this all mean? It means that understanding your own creative DNA isn't just a fun little personality quiz. It's the very source of your power. And please, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this: neither path is better. Our culture loves to celebrate the young, flashy genius, but the quiet, late-blooming master who works for decades is every bit as powerful. They are both completely valid ways to make an impact. The real key is to just stop trying to walk in someone else's shoes.
This quote really says it all perfectly. There is no single right path to greatness. The key is to know yourself, lean into your style, and cultivate it with intention. It's not about finding the quote-unquote right path. It's about finding your path and then walking it on purpose.
So I'll leave you with that question. Now that you know the two paths, the conceptual lightning strike and the experimental slow burn, which one is calling your name? Which journey is truly yours? And more importantly, how are you going to start walking it with intention, starting today?